Greetings, my friends. I want to thank you all for subscribing. I want to thank all of my channel members for supporting me in this endeavor to save pop culture. And if you are not subscribed, please consider supporting this channel. We need you. Thank you. People have asked me, when are you going to review Velma? Aren't you going to review Velma? Surely you've got something to say about it. To which I reply, yes. And don't call me Shirley. Velma confronts me with a very difficult, if not insurmountable problem as a reviewer. It is quite literally loathsome, and I am loath to discuss it. This show has no redeeming features, and at the same time, watching it makes you feel a bit like being kicked in the stomach by way of the nuts. There are no words, really, to express just how hateful and ugly this show is, not directly. You could say indirect things about it. For example, the writers of Velma would have been right at home on the writing staff of Star Trek Discovery or Puke Hard. Those of you who know the level of existential hatred I have for those worthless exercises in franchise destruction will appreciate that as one of the most stinging indictments of a human being I can levy. But even that is not adequate. There is also not enough of a plot to Velma to analyze it dispassionately. It's kind of like when you step in a pile of dog shit. Well, what do you say about that? How do you review what's sticking to the bottom of your shoe? How do you convey the fundamental nastiness of the experience in mere words? And to be fair, not even Shakespeare himself can transform a footprint in dog poop into a sonnet. The simple fact of the matter is, I did a review of Velma for my channel members just the other day, and in that review I cut loose. I opened my ordnance bay and let the F-bombs fly to express just how much I hate this twisted little misbegotten dwarf of a show. Still, I figured that you guys out there in YouTube land still deserve to know what I think of this abomination, so I figured out a way I can stand to talk about it. I'll go over what disgusts me about this show, choking down as many F-bombs as I can, but then I'm going to put a spoonful of sugar in there to help this particular medicine choke down, the spoonful of sugar being how Velma is being publicly shamed as one of the worst reviewed shows in the history of mankind.
Velma is what happens when you hire a woman who isn't funny to star in a show written by terminally woke wankers who hate Scooby-Doo, hate men, hate Western civilization, and, if there's any justice in the universe at all, hate themselves. Well, if the writers don't hate themselves now, all they need do is read some of the reviews out there in the mainstream media. Even those on the left agree that this thing has all the charm of a used piece of toilet paper in a bridal bouquet at Kim Kardashian's wedding. Tell me, Doomcock, do you hate this worthless trash as much as you hate Star Trek Discovery?
That's not really a fair question, Skull of Calderon. Is Velma as bad as Star Trek Discovery? Yes, I think it does descend to that level of nihilistic suckitude. But here's the difference. I watched Scooby-Doo and I liked it, but I was never obsessed with it. It's not like I went to Scooby-Doo conventions or anything, but Star Trek? Well, Star Trek was almost a way of life for me. I did go to conventions, read books, obsess over the episodes over and over again. So I hate Star Trek Discovery and Puke Hard worse than this simply because those shows vandalized something that was precious to me personally. Velma can't hit me as hard as that, but you'd have to be blind, deaf, and kicked in the head by a syphilitic mule to miss just how despicable and hateful Velma is. This show gets off to a terrible start with a nasty, hateful monologue from Velma, essentially throwing down the woke gauntlet, explicitly attacking men, and saying, "This is my show, bitches." It moves from there to cockroaches screwing in an alley. Then Velma attacks a bunch of naked high school girls in the school shower just because. Then a dead girl tumbles out of a school locker with her brain removed. And that's the one thing that this show got right. Because Velma is essentially that, a murdered body with its brain removed, along with its taste glands. The biggest problem with Velma is the same problem that She-Hulk had. It's a comedy that just isn't funny. They're straining to be funny like a Chicago Bears fan who eats nothing but chili dogs strains in the toilet, and neither result is very pretty. Mindy Kaling just plain sucks. Her delivery is an antidote to humor and effectively squelches any outbreaks of funny that might otherwise have broken out during this show. Fred is treated like an idiotic piece of garbage, an egotistical moron who hasn't even hit puberty yet. Aha! Let's go ahead and attack Fred's manhood, shall we? The Mystery Machine itself, a beloved part of Scooby-Doo lore, is called a rapey van by Velma in the first episode. Yeah, charming, isn't it? This is what happens when franchises are put into the hands of people who hate that franchise. HBO could have enjoyed some wholesome family success with a faithful adaptation. Maybe you could tweak it to have more adult appeal, but not like this. Not this level of hatred, ugliness, and scorn for the franchise and for the audience. Trust me, you never want to see this show, not even out of curiosity. Now that's the bad news. But that said, the good news is that sanity has not fully fled the human race. Even in the midst of extreme wokeness, social media impaired attention spans, and an overall predilection for stupidity, most people agree that Velma sucks. On Rotten Tomatoes, currently Velma is sitting at 47% fresh from the woke establishment critics, and a very reassuring 6% fresh from actual normal human beings.
Well, I don't know what the hell is reassuring about that. Don't you see, man? 6% of the population are raving maniacs. That's a degree of pod personhood at Invasion of the Body Snatchers Act 1 levels. 1 out of every 20 people you meet statistically liked Velma, which I guess explains why Progressive is still in business after all those ads with Flo.
Flo sucks, Harvey Cthulhu. But even Flo doesn't suck as bad as Velma, and that's saying something because I really hate Flo. Everyone knows that it's a bomb on Rotten Tomatoes, but as bad as that is, it's even worse on IMDB, and as it turns out, according to Forbes, Velma is the third worst rated TV show in history on IMDb. In their article, Forbes writes, quote, 2 more episodes of Velma aired on HBO Max this week, and they do not seem to have changed any minds about what is genuinely one of the worst reviewing shows I've ever seen. A rare combination of anti-woke review bombers, left-leaning viewers who think the series is just plain bad, and Scooby-Doo enthusiasts upset by the changes made to the IP have made Velma one of the lowest audience scoring series I've seen in HBO history, currently sitting at 6% on Rotten Tomatoes. But zooming out, Velma is also currently reviewing as the third worst rated TV series of every single show in history according to IMDb. Velma currently has a 1.3 out of 10 rating, which puts it at number 3 for the worst reviewed shows ever in IMDb's bottom 100 among shows with at least 5,000 reviews in, unquote.
Holy humping cockroaches, Batman! That's one terrible rating. Apparently, Velma is even worse than that Geico Caveman sitcom from years back, the show with the gay cavemen, remember? It's worse rated than Star Trek Discovery?
Yeah, but the thing is, if more people had watched Discovery or Puke Hard, Harvey, I think it would be competing for that particular no prize.
I think Forbes was being kind. I think the most succinct and accurate review of Velma would be to hide a camera inside the toilet of a truck stop and film the proceedings. Slap the words, "Here's what I think of Velma," over the footage, and voila! You've invented a brand new kind of thumbs down.
You are wise, O Skull of Calderon. That way, the review itself could be as loathsome as its subject. Almost. Velma is a loser of a show, folks. Thankfully, most of the world knows it. Velma has failed, and it has been punished by being publicly pilloried and humiliated. No one associated with this catastrophe should ever be allowed to work in Hollywood again. But, of course, they will be. Hollywood has always been a kind of Babylon, but now, in these woke times, Hollywood is more like the court of Caligula, a place governed by the whims of madmen where everyone gets screwed, especially the audience. From the center of the earth, this is Dictor Van Doomcock bidding you all, my friends, stay angry. Ha 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 ha.